There was another finding from the marshmallow experiment that's going to help you overcome lust. So imagine, okay, they've put you there again with the marshmallow, the 2 marshmallows, okay, you've got to wait for them, okay? Then they tell you, why don't you think of something that makes you happy? Remember the time that when your mommy pushed you high on the swing? They would say that to some kids. Some, obviously, they get like super happy thinking of like this happy moment. They again were super significantly more likely to resist the temptation of just eating the 1 marshmallow now rather than delaying gratification for the other one. What was very interesting, they also tried the exact opposite. They told some kids, why don't you just think about how good the marshmallow's gonna taste? Those kids ate it almost immediately. So what does this teach us? We should, 1, be trying to think of like positive thoughts and positive memories. But 2, we should not be fantasizing and keeping in mind the bad desire that we don't want to act on. And this is the exact opposite that a lot of us often do. When you get an urge for porn, be honest, you probably kind of circulate the urge in your mind a bit. You kind of almost fantasize in it mentally first, don't you? You almost like play around with it. It's kind of annoying and agitating to experience like an urge to relapse, but you almost like purposely keep it in your mind at times. The fat person who's like, thinking, should I eat the cake or not? Should I eat the cake or not? They're literally just like thinking about the cake for the next 10, 20 minutes. And of course they're going to end up eating it. When you get thoughts and urges and desires in your mind of, okay, maybe I'll go watch porn. No, I don't want to. Maybe I should. By keeping it in your mind, you're absolutely going to relapse. By like visualizing the kind of porn that you want to watch, visualizing, fantasizing about the girl that you want to sleep with, you absolutely will fail at this goal of yours to like become a better man and to be stronger and to use willpower. So instead, we're going to use a principle which is called if-then. A lot of programmers like nerds know about this. If-then. It's kind of like a mental model, almost like we're forming a mental habit. And the way it works is we clarify with humility that we're certainly going to experience a desire for porn or sex again, right? We know this, right? No matter even if you get onto NoFap, no matter how long you've been on, we know for a fact that we're going to have desires for porn or sex at some point in our lives, probably like 50 million of them, right? So if we are honest with that, okay, we're going to have those desires, we need to start to plan this almost mental model where we're going to say, okay, when I get that mental model, then what I'm going to do is, and set a real consistent, like super specific plan for that. So you can do this right now. Think to yourself, right here, right now, I'm going to get a lot more desires for porn and for all bad desires. As soon as I notice that I'm getting this desire, this craving, I'm going to do X. Now, a lot of people I've noticed will say like, oh yeah, do some push-ups, do some exercise. You possibly could do that. I'm not sure if that would be effective. The people I've spoke to, the young guys who say like, oh yeah, just do some push-ups, they always end up relapsing because I'm not sure if trying to counter like a sort of a mental craving with something real world, which, it's almost a bit impractical, which sounds silly, but it's almost a bit impractical to like get down and do push-ups a lot of the time. I think it's better to almost make your like action, your response action, more of like a way of thinking. So mine, for example, is when I have a desire that I don't want to fulfill, I will instead immediately go and think about some kind of happy, pleasant, funny memory. Because when we have these positive emotions inside of us, we're far more likely to delay gratification just because we don't really need much external things anymore. When you feel happy, you don't need to eat as much sugar because you already kind of feel happy. So you can just take my one. When you feel a desire for something that you don't want to feel, immediately go and think about some kind of like funny memory that just makes you kind of smile or laugh. And you'll find that your desire for that thing will usually go down. Because if we're being honest, the biggest reason why you watch porn is probably just because you're sad, bored, or lonely. Sometimes, yeah, there is the sort of the lust and the horniness, but let's say real emotions. I feel sadness, I feel bored, I feel lonely. So how many times do we really get this intense need to fap when we're in like a humorous, joyful, grateful, present, happy mood? Not often, right? It's usually when we're in this quite silent mood and, it's 4 p.m. or 7 p.m. and we're just in our bedrooms by ourselves. We're not talking to anyone. We haven't seen sunlight for the last few hours and we're sat here just mindlessly looking at content and, just wasting time, pretending to study. That's when it hits us. It's not like you ever are having such a funny conversation with someone, you can't stop laughing, and that's when you're thinking like, yeah, now would be a good time to ejaculate. But first, your actionable step for this part of the guide is to take action right here, right now, with me. grab your phone, go on to those apps which you usually find have caused the trigger for you. For a lot of guys, this will be social media. Maybe you've deleted your social media already, but let's say it's Instagram. And if you're just being honest, on Instagram, there is a girl that, for example, it feels like a lot of triggers, a lot of cravings and desires happen because of her. Maybe it's some like model or some celebrity. Maybe it's some girl that you know from like school or work or something. Go and unfollow her. This is for your own mental health, your own good. There's no reason to keep something which is literally just like poisoning your mind and, causing your mind to fall in. Because remember, for the kids in the marshmallow experiment, if we can cover the desire so you can't see it, you'll be far less likely to relapse. Maybe it's a girl on Instagram, but maybe it's also content creators on YouTube. I know for a lot of young men, they watch a lot of like seemingly traditional, but actually degenerate male influencers, role models. And so these people online, like, you know who I'm talking about, but like they'll be causing more triggers even though they're pretending to help you. So there's the NoFap YouTuber who shows you pictures of like attractive girls knowing that it's going to make you relapse just because he doesn't actually give a fuck about you. He just wants you to like, be more likely to click on the video. Anytime I see a NoFap YouTuber who puts something like triggering as a picture, the thumbnail or whatever, he puts like a sexy girl or something, I always just think to myself, this is a grade A dickhead. The same thing I see with these sort of men's podcasts where they know that the major problem that their audiences of experiencing is like porn and masturbation and triggers, and here they'll bring in a bunch of degenerate women and telling them to like dress up nice and wearing the push-up bras just to kind of put that into your face, and then here they are shouting at them and telling them, no, like, I am a high value man and you do this and you have sex, and then straight after the show they just message them and say like, oh hey, do you wanna fuck? They desperately are trying to fuck the same girls that they're saying are damaged. Unsubscribe from garbage content. From the girl who doesn't even post anything educational, but she's just, it's like the girl who's pretending to be like a fitness influencer and she's posting like, her little workout routines, but she's wearing quite like sexual clothing, the kind of leggings that like fucking go up her asshole. And here she is posting it from the back. Oh, hey, today I hit 4 times 8 squats. She's not actually selling fitness. She's selling sex. Unfollow, unsubscribe, block, delete. This includes seemingly like educational YouTubers who aren't actually posting like valuable content, and instead they're just posting triggering content. It's the Red Pill podcast. It's the Instagram pages you post that, they've got pictures of girls and then whatever it is. If there's things that trigger you, just get rid of it. You don't need to see this stuff in your day-to-day life. If you respect yourself, you'll go and do that right now. In the sugar section of this full guide, I explain fully how to control your emotions so that these emotions of sadness, boredom, or loneliness don't make you relapse on porn. So you might want to go watch that section as well.
You liked this video, so go and watch the full guide because it took me weeks to make and it will genuinely change your life. It's popped up as a card. Go click on that right now. It's also a link in the description. Go click on that right now.